Do you get frustrated and angry with your children? Would you like to know why? Would you like to stop it? I can show you how. I'm going to teach you the real reason you become angry at your children, and it's not what you think. Why you just can't seem to control your anger, no matter what you do. What you can do to eliminate, not just manage your anger, really. How you can replace anger and frustration with genuine peace and happiness. And how you can become a far more loving and effective parent. I'm Greg Baer, and I've published 20 books on this subject, as well as speaking at hundreds of seminars, counseling thousands of parents, and much more. I am thoroughly committed to help you lose your anger and become the confident and caring parent you really want to be. Look for the signs of your frustration and anger at your children. With all honesty, answer the following questions. Do you sometimes resent having to repeat the same instructions to your child over and over? Do you find yourself irritated by the smallest things? Noise, kids being late, kids arguing, messy rooms, and the endless conflicts involved with bedtime, leaving for school, meal times, and more. Do you often get tired of them arguing with you about almost everything? Have you gotten to the point where you just want to avoid having conversations with an impossible child? Sometimes, do you just want to get away? Do you sometimes have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep as you replay the conflicts of the day in your mind? Do you often want to scream when you hear that piercing sound of whining and complaining again? Do you feel like what you're doing is never enough for these, well, danged kids? Why anger is so harmful to you and your children. Your anger eliminates love and happiness like no other thing can. Anger fuels every conflict and unpleasant interaction you have with your children or anybody else. Your anger inflicts the deepest wounds on your children, more than you can imagine, and on yourself. Your anger destroys any possibility of being truly united with your partner. Your anger isolates you from everyone around you. Many courses and books teach us how to manage and control our anger, but they're almost always ineffective. Why? Because they don't teach us the real cause of anger and how to eliminate it. One problem is that anger is an emotion so common among us that we scarcely notice it anymore. It's become like a background noise. We see it almost everywhere we look. We're angry at our children, when our spouses fail to do what we want, at other drivers on the road to the point that it's like an automatic reflex, at people who make us wait, when people break their promises, when our bosses are demanding, when things are unfair, at the idiot who just took our parking space. Everywhere we see it, we're angry a lot. Now, why are we angry? We have to understand that, or we can't do anything about it. And it's so easy to be wrong about the real reason for anger, because we tend to blame it on somebody else because of something they just did. But that is not true. Other people don't make us angry. And until we understand that, we're trapped in a prison of anger, often for a lifetime. So, why do you get angry? We need to talk about a new definition of love. Let's keep it simple. Why do we get angry? The answer is pain, usually a lifetime of it. Think about how irritable you can get just with a simple headache that lasts for a few hours. Pain throws off our entire emotional well-being, and anger is one common symptom of our emotional distress. But what pain? Where's the trauma? In the case of being beaten or tortured, the cause of pain is obvious, and it's easy to see why we'd be angry at the person hurting us. But in most cases, the cause of our pain is not so obvious. Centuries ago, millions of people, especially sailors, died of a disease called scurvy. These people had bleeding gums, tooth loss, wounds that didn't heal, bleeding and pain in the joints, and even bleeding in the brain and death. The physicians of the time did not understand the cause and didn't know how to treat it. Eventually, we learned that scurvy was caused by a lack of vitamin C, which is invisible to the naked eye and could not have been identified hundreds of years ago. Millions of men and women got horribly sick and died from a lack of that single invisible molecule, vitamin C. Without it, people starved and died, even though their bellies were full of bread and beef. Similarly, in our day, many of us are confused by the frequent anger we feel and that our children feel. And yet the cause is right in front of us. The lack of a single invisible molecule, if you like, in our emotional and spiritual diets. In order to be happy, in order to be healthy, what we all require more than anything else is the feeling that we're loved. Intuitively, you know that already. When a baby cries, for example, what do? You pick him up and hold him. You love him. Our souls require feeling loved in just as real a way as our bodies require air and food and vitamin C. But not just any kind of love will do. What we need is real love, where people care about our happiness unconditionally. People love us unconditionally when they're not disappointed or angry when we make our foolish mistakes, when we don't do what they want, or even when we inconvenience them personally. Many of us have never seen love like that. Instead, we've always had to be responsible or smart or beautiful or something in order for people to like us. But that's just trading. It's not real love. Let me say this another way. All our lives we've seen that when we don't behave in ways that people like, when we're late or incompetent or make mistakes, they have found it more difficult to love us if they tried at all. That proves that we were not loved unconditionally. People always expected something in return for the supposed love they gave us. They expected respect, cooperation, gratitude. When we were disappointing in any way, bad grades, lack of cooperation, simply being inconvenient, as children usually are, we saw and felt the disappointment and irritation of other people. We did not feel loved unconditionally. Every time somebody was disappointed or angry with us, mostly our parents and other caregivers, we heard only these 4 words: I don't love you. I promise you that this is true. Think about it. When we're angry, we're saying, look what you did to me or didn't do for me. No, people didn't mean to say that to us. But when other people feel disappointed or angry, all we hear is what they want. We hear them saying, me, ignoring what we need. That's true for us even today as adults when we hear it. When we feel anger or disappointment or disapproval from others, we feel helpless and hurt. And one way that we have learned to respond is with our own anger, which briefly makes us feel less helpless, powerless. So now, while we still feel hurt and angry from a lifetime of pain, we adults, we parents, from the disappointment, criticism, and anger of others, how could we possibly love our own children unconditionally? Impossible. Nobody is to blame I'm not blaming anybody. Our ignorance of real love has simply perpetuated over generations. We don't know how to love unconditionally because we've never seen it or felt it with any consistency. I know you've tried to change your anger. You've read books, you've done programs, you've tried self-control, maybe counseling, maybe medication, but you're still angry and miserable. So are your children. And you're frustrated and tired. You've been looking for something that works, and here it is. Principles that have proven to work hundreds of thousands of times all over the world. If you are thoroughly committed to learning and practicing what I'm going to share with you, predictably, I see anger just disappear, replaced by peace and happiness, even after everything else has failed. Anger is not a hopeless condition. I'm here to help you with all the experience I described earlier. You are about to change the world around you, and you don't have to do it alone, which is miserable and frustrating. You've already proven that with your own experience. I'm going to show you what real love looks like and feels like, and teach you how to find it for yourself and give it to your children. And that is the answer to your question. This is how you stop anger. This is how you eliminate it. You learn how to find, feel, and give real love. How can you learn all this and eliminate your anger? We offer an entire training course, a thorough course in unconditional love, understanding it, finding it, feeling it, and we send you additional support materials and answers to questions every week. And hundreds of those support materials have now been already archived for your use anytime. I'm committed to this all the way with you. We will work together until you see the anger in your life disappear. Does this work? I've been teaching unconditional love now for so many years to so many people, including parents, that I can tell you this with complete certainty. When we feel truly loved unconditionally, we do not feel angry or frustrated. We just don't. Instead, we're happy. And then we can help our children achieve the same condition. Happy. Happy people simply don't behave badly, like being angry, for example. Period. It seems like this statement is almost too bold, claims too much, but it doesn't. Take my hand and we'll talk about what you can do and how I will support you. It will almost be like starting over in parenting and in life. You're going to learn how to become a happy person and a real parent. And your child will learn the lessons of life that will benefit him or her for the rest of their lives. If you implement what you learn here, and if you do it consistently, you simply will not believe the differences you'll see in your child and in you and in your entire family. We're about to learn how to eliminate the anger and frustration in your life and in the lives of your children. No kidding. We're really going to get into this. This is not a casual effort. We're not looking to help you manage your anger. That's not even close to being enough. Our mission is to help you become a powerful and effective parent and person, and to help your child feel loved and to be loving, responsible, and genuinely happy. It's a transformation. You can learn to do this. So let's learn some more. In a moment, you'll begin the first lesson of the Ridiculously Effective Parenting Training. It's free, which will talk about how you can help your children behave more productively. And in the process, it will show you what it's like for you to become more unconditionally loving. As you lose your anger, you'll learn how to solve the problems you have with your children. After watching the first free lesson, you'll have tools you can use immediately, so you can make permanent, positive changes in your relationship with your children, starting right now. In the words of one parent, quote, "I have spent a lifetime being angry at people and blaming them for how I felt. Now that I feel loved, My anger has just evaporated. I don't control my anger or manage it. When I feel loved, it just goes away without my even thinking about it." End quote. So, let's get started. Click the button below, it's free, to begin transforming your life as a ridiculously effective parent.